the best backstage conversation. I am so excited right now to bring to the stage the one, the only, the incomparable William Shatner, sir!
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Set my name down there, so I guess I know who's here. It's me. I'm here. No, thank you so much. I'll talk, you shut up. Now then, you know how to start these things. I mean, what do you do? How do you engage people? You tell them sometime. I'm engaged. Yeah. To warm the audience up, sort of thing. So, I'll start with something I know, something you don't know that about me, and we'll just warm it up. So the thing, I'd like to sit down, but I don't want to be sitting that far back. How about right here? So the thing that's just happened, that was like newsworthy, that'll be interesting just to tell you what I'm doing, is we're pregnant. We're pregnant! Pregnant, I tell you! Well, I breed Dobermans. So the universe collaborated. I love dogs and horses. I love it. I believe so implicitly that we're all connected, both as human beings, of course, but we're all connected with all of life. So that everything talks to you. Everything is communicated. Just have to be tuned in to hear it, to understand it. So that dogs talk to you, horses talk to you, and they're just talking in their language. And I also believe that mystically, we're connected with everything. I mean, we're made of stardust. Why aren't we connected with the universe? So sometimes the universe collaborates in making things happen. I happen to believe, like parking places. I don't know about you, but I've got parking karma. I mean, I drive up to a restaurant or a theater, and I expect somebody to pull out and let me in. So I had 6 months ago or so, I had 3 Dobermans at my house. Big old stud dog named Starbuck. His daughter, Cappuccino. And then we bred Starbuck. I think I'll tell you the whole story. What the heck? It hasn't anything to do with Star Trek, but it has to do with me.
That's fine.
So, Starbuck, big male goby. I just loved him so much. A big man's dog. I mean, I always thought dogs, dogs, you put your hand out, you feel the dog's wither. That's a dog. That's a dog. A little dog. They're little dogs. They call them dogs. They're not little dogs. They're rats. I want a big dog.
Yeah.
So, I've always had Dobermans, and the kind of Doberman I loved was Starbuck. So Starbuck bred, it was about his 5th year, he bred a litter, and we kept a puppy. We named her Cappuccino, and Starbuck begat Cappuccino, who lived in the house with us. So there was 2 Dobermans. Then one day I was out at the trainer of the horses stable, and a woman comes running up to me and says, "Your dog is locked up with another dog. He's servicing it, and oh my God, my dog is on top of it. I get off the horse and I run, and he is indeed locked up with another one. I said to the lady, how long has your female dog been in season? And she said, it's a male dog. So they finally parted, and I said it was embarrassed for Starbuck, but some months later, Starbuck gets an infection in his prostate due to him being locked up with a male dog. And so badly that we have to take his family jewels away from him. So my wife says, maybe we could save the semen inside the family jewels if we freeze it. So I get it in an ice box. And I run to this place in Los Angeles that does freeze the semen. And I run in because its time is of the essence. And I said to the lady, I've got the balls. And she said to me, you certainly do. So we froze Starbucks semen. Now we start talking about, I start talking about, we gotta breed, we gotta get a puppy, we gotta get a puppy. And to Liz, and Liz says, okay. So in West Texas, a lady who knew Tom, who also had been in West Texas, who was the leading Doberman breeder mostly in the country. Tom dies, his 90 Dobies are dispersed, and this lady in West Texas, Tanya has a lot of Tom's dogs. We admire Tom. Starbuck was from Tom's breeding. We go to the lady in Texas, Tanya, have you got a puppy? Have you got a female that we could breed Starbuck to? She says, I got a female coming in to eat. It'd be perfect. Send the semen to the vet that's right here. George, the vet. So we send the semen to George. George calls us and says, well, you will not believe this. But not only as Starbuck semen come in, but Ike, Tom's great stud, who's now dead, also has semen. Ike is Starbuck's father. Do you want to breed to Ike or to Starbuck? I said, no, Starbuck. He said, I'll tell you what I'll do. There's a 12-hour period in which the egg is really fertile. Is this interesting to you? Yeah. I mean, it's vital to me. So what we'll do is we'll put a little of Ike's semen in front of that 12-hour period, and at the end of the 12-hour, we'll put the Starbucks, and you'll never know unless you take a blood test. It's great. Because Starbucks semen was it's called motility, and didn't have whatever the negative motility, didn't have much motility, wasn't motile, I don't know. There weren't a lot of little things swimming upstream. So we breed Tanya's dog. And Tanya has puppies. She has 7 females and 1 male. We want the male. Tanya's dog steps on the male and breaks its back. It's that big, breaks its back. So, sometimes that'll happen in the whelping box. So there's 7 females. So now Liz and I drive down, at the end of 8 weeks, we drive down there to make our choice. My wife, Elizabeth, is a horse judge as well as being a horse trainer. She's one of the top Arab judges, as well as a saddlebred, American saddlebred judge. And the American saddlebred has the same neck and chest and height as a Doberman. So even though she'd never judged Dobermans, she had the eye to an 8-week-old puppy, which is when you can see what the adult dog is going to look like at 8 weeks. And then they get all crazy and they grow a leg and the ear and they look awful until they're about 2 years old. So now, Tanya, Elizabeth, and I are judging this litter of female puppies. And I like a puppy that Tanya likes. Square out, neck, but Liz likes this other puppy a little bit better. And I say, being the generous person that I am, let's take both. We'll take both puppies. We take the puppies and put the puppies in the car, and we drive from Austin, Texas to Los Angeles with 2 little puppies in the car. And you try and find a rest area, you know, from Texas to California to air the dogs. There's no such thing. It's all sand, it's all cactus. And there are signs saying, beware of snakes. You can't let a little 8-week-old puppy gamble around. So we're running after them, you know, and we're bonding with them, and it's great. 6 months later, the 2 females are at each other's throat. Now, when a Doberman is at your throat, you take it very seriously. Because a Doberman's got a lot of, you know, they're aggressive dogs. And it turns out that I've made a mistake. That 2 males will fight until one is dominated, and then the other one gives up, and one is superior to A and B. But 2 females will fight to the death. And that's what happened. Oh. Well, she got torn up, and the other female got torn up, and as a result, infection and autoimmune and all that kind of thing, that puppy died, and we were left with Espresso. So we had Espresso for the last 3 years. Now we want to breed Espresso and Starbucks and Cappuccino of old age. We had to put them down this year. So instead of 3 Dobermans, we have 1, and I wanted to get a litter. Now, I have 3 children, and many years ago, I don't remember saying to my wife, or my wife saying to me, let's have a kid. I don't remember. I just remember my wife saying I'm pregnant and we'd have a baby. Then 3 years would go by and we'd have another baby, we'd have another, we had 3 babies. That's what I remember the event did. I wanted this litter from on Espresso. I wanted Espresso to have babies because I wanted another male dog. I wanted a dog. I wanted it. I planned it. We're going to go back to Tanya and get one of her stud dogs and breed Espresso to Tanya's great line. She's in West Texas. It's okay. So we plan. We wait. She's in her 3rd year. Espresso. She's in her 3rd year. She comes into Eden. Okay? Comes into Esther. She takes 3 weeks. 1 week preparation, bleeds a little. That middle week is when she's most fertile, especially on 1 or 2 days. And then she goes out the following 3 weeks. Esther. So you got to catch her on her cycle, otherwise you pretty much won't work. It's like human beings, you know, take your temperature, and then, come on, honey, let's make a baby. Woo! So, you get a dog's ability to conceive by monitoring the progesterone. And you go to your veterinarian, and they take blood, and the next day, they send it to a lab, the next day it comes back, and they say to you, you're at whatever. So when Espresso came into estrus, we took her to the lab, took her to the vet. Next day, she's 0.2. 2 days later, she's 0.7. 2 days later, she's 1. The veterinarian says, okay, the way she's going, next week, She'll come in, you better make arrangements. You're going to breed her. Call Tanya. Tanya, we're going to need to ship the semen because of this. And although shipped semen isn't very good with dogs, we have to do it that way because we're not going to drive, and I don't want to send in the airplane. But you'll send semen. We'll tell you when to send semen. And on a Saturday, the week after the espresso has been in heat, we come in on a Saturday at noon, and the vet takes the blood. She says, well, the lab is closed Saturday afternoon. We'll tell you what she's in on Monday. 2 hours after we've been in our phone ring, and it's the veterinarian. She said, I sent the blood in to do it rapidly, and she's at a 7. You have to breed tomorrow. Doctor, I can't get the season from West Texas to that day, and there's only this one day. What am I going to do? And here's where the universe comes in. 3 weeks earlier, I'm into horses as well. I ride horses competitively. And there's a whole thing about horses and chiropractors. The kind of horses I ride, reiners, the leg goes out, the neck gets stiff, just like us. And a chiropractor, a horse chiropractor, comes in, cracks the head, cracks the leg, cracks the back, and it really makes a difference. So we had, my trainer, Danny, had Trevor come in, young guy, vital guy up northern California, coming into Southern California to wrestle our competition horses into shape. And Trevor, nice looking guy, he's got great education, we take him out to dinner, and he says, yeah, I'm a person chiropractor, I'm an animal chiropractor, and I breed Dobermans. No, Trevor, you breed Dobermans? We're breeding Dobermans too. We got a female. We've got this Tanya in West Texas, and we're going to send one. And he says, wow, I know her. She's really good. She's got great life. I have some great stud dogs too, but that's great. Saturday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we've got a breed tomorrow. I called Taylor. He's up at the Russian River in Sebastopol, 7 hours drive from Los Angeles. It's 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I gotta breed tomorrow. I said, Trevor, I said, Trevor, is your stud dog here? Yeah, my stud. Can I breed here? Yeah, please. I said, if I drive up tonight and get there by midnight, can we breed tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock in the morning? He said, of course. I said, can we breed? Because you're supposed to do 2 breedings. Could I breed instead of waiting a day, do it like at 4 o'clock that afternoon? He says, yeah. Could the stud dog? Yeah, the stud dog does that. We drive up to Sebastopol Saturday night, drop the dog off, 7 o'clock Sunday morning. My wife and I are looking through a window at my virgin dog being raped. I'm sorry, folks. That male dog knew what to do, and my little virgin dog didn't know what to do. It was an all. In fact, we were standing there watching. Gee, look at that. That's just, oh, that's terrible. But our dog kept looking at us. So Trevor said, get out of the room. So there's a window in the door. So my wife's above and we're looking at our Doberman being raped. She's bred once. He says, Trevor says, the way it worked, I think she's pregnant. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we breed her again. We drive back home. That was 2-3 weeks ago. Yesterday we brought her in, and I've got a picture of must be about that big, of a puppy inside her. She's pregnant! So in 63 days, we'll have puppies, and I'll keep one of the male puppies and name him Macchiato. All right, so it's a long, boring story, but it's new, and who knows, you know. And then we'll all meet in 63 days, and I'll show you the puppy. So everybody, what would you like to talk about? Other than the dog. Hand gestures. Are you set up for questions? Yes, you are. Ask me a question. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi. Nice and loud.
I have a very specific question. So I really liked your book, Collision Course, about Kirk and Spock in their academy days.
Oh, Quest for Tomorrow.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's going to be made into we're trying to make that into an animated film, by the way.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Sometimes I just want to ask you the process of like brainstorming for it and stuff like that about
Yeah.
the first meeting.
So what's your question?
Oh,
I mean, I hate to bother you, but what's your question?
I guess my question was basically like something about them, your interpretation of them first meeting, going to the academy, like.
Oh, what was I doing?
Yeah, the brainstorming,
Okay.
yeah.
So what I was doing was imagining how Captain Kirk, what he was doing as a young man. So I imagined that his father was in trouble with the mafia, and he had to get out of town. He took his son with him, and he escaped. He went someplace, and the mafia found him, and they had a gunfire fight, you know, on stun, but they put it on kill, and inadvertently, Kirk killed his father in the fire. And that launched him into being a bad adolescent. And finally, he was caught, and he was given a sentence of either going to jail or going to military school, which would have been the academy. And that's sort of how I imagine Kirk's beginning was. Now, Paramount had allowed me to write books about my interpretation of Captain Kirk, so that later on in the movies, when they killed the character, as I died, I went, oh, I'm dead. And then I got up and I went to the producer and I said, I've got a book that I've written called The Return, in which the character comes back to life. Would you like to read it? He said, no, you're dead. So the Star Trek books were popular, but what I called Quest for Tomorrow never really took off. And so I'm changing it, and I'll make it not Captain Kirk, but some young guy who's, you know. So if my company, Shatner's Universe, which is doing a lot of stuff, if Shatner's Universe is able to, and I've got animators now, things like that, I'm trying to actively sell it right now. Tomorrow, for example, there'll be somebody knocking on somebody's door saying, we got a project for you. But it's nothing like Star Trek, but it's someday in the future. Okay? You're very welcome. Yes?
I'd like to ask you about one of my favorite shows, Boston Legal.
Yes.
You might have about the incredible cast you worked with, and also, of course, if you could just do one Denny Crane for me. Because that's...
I love the way somebody comes up to me like I'm signing autograph, and they say, hey, hi. Do Denny Crane. like I'm a monk. You want to do Denny Crane? Denny Crane. Oh, fuck you so much. No, I'm not going to do Denny Crane. Okay.
Well, that was Denny Crane.
It was a marvelous experience. James Spade is a wonderful guy. I love him. And we met, essentially we met on the set. I do a one-man show. I opened a one-man show on Broadway some time ago. I've been touring. I'll go out and tour in a couple of months for another 10 days. And in this one-man show, I tell a story, and I believe I came to Portland with the one-man show whenever, but I'll tell you about it, what I did, like the moment in the one-man shows. I was was late at night acting with the whole group of people, and I suddenly I threw myself across James's desk, screaming, "Ah!" And James said, "Are you going to play the scene that way?" I said, "No, I'm in pain." He says, "You're having a kidney stone." They called the hospital, the ambulance came, and I don't know if anybody's ever had a kidney stone here. It's apparently more painful than childbirth, which is relative. But who here has had a child? Who here has had a kidney stone? Gee, the same people. So they say the pain is similar or more, And I'm screaming and they came and finally, I passed the kidney stone, and I caught it.
Put it on eBay.
A gambling app company in Canada, goldenpalace.com, I think it was called. They still do. And they can't publicize because of the law. So gambling, you can't say, come and gamble with us. Well, what they can do is they can do strange things, whatever it's called. Publicity, get publicity. They bought a cheese sandwich which had the picture of Christ on it. Not the picture, but an image. It looked like Christ. They got that for $25,000. So they called me. They said, "We want to buy your kidney stone." I said, "How much?" They said, $25,000. I said, "I want $100,000 for my kidney stone." So we settled on 75. The cash kicked in $25,000. And we got $100,000. We gave it to the Habitat for Humanity, and in the New Orleans area, there's a house that a family is living in with my kidney stone. That is so weird. You changed from this girl to this. How did you do that? Get your hair up, I know, that's good. Now you're wearing black, you got a beard. How did that happen? Did you take hormones in that video? What happened to the young lady? What, you fainted? What did you do? You decided, that's it, I don't want to. Question?
In like a modern era?
Oh, yeah.
What would you, like, how would that look?
I'd play God with a beard. How would that look? Golly, I don't know. Aren't you doing that on television coming up? Huh? Look, I know nothing. I mean, I know nothing about anything anyway. But I know less about the forms that Star Trek have taken. I've seen, not only did I hardly see anything I did, I've never seen any Star Trek. These guys on Next Generation are my buddies. I've never seen one. And the truth came out, and Patrick Stewart said, "You've never seen me. You've never seen me, Bill. I mean, really. You've never seen how good I am." So they're really good friends of mine. I love them. I'm on stage with them sometimes, joshing back and forth and playing in front of them. I've never seen one of those, and they all know. So, and then I was on a panel at one of the Comic-Cons, San Diego Comic-Con, with the guy who was writing and directing and doing the whole thing, and I met him and we talked. He was at the podium and I was at table and chair, and we talked, and we had some fun, and yes, I'm going to do it, I'm doing a whole new thing, and it's going to be this, it's going to be that, and I sort of forgot what he said, but he was like the head guy. He's gone. They fired him. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I didn't think of J.J. Abrams.
No. J.J. Abrams, the movie. What was that? What's that again? Brian Fuller? So there's a guy by the name of Brian Fuller. The J.J. Abrams, I know. The J.J. Abrams is like this wonderful director and this wonderful movies, and Mr. Pine is so good and so good looking and so young and so rich. Meet Robert Johnson. What? Well, didn't you say I would talk and you would listen? So Mr. Fuller left us. And I was starting to know something about what they were going to do, and then he was fired, so I don't know. Do you know why he was fired? No, you can't know, because you think it's J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams. So he calls me in, and I'm thinking, wow, maybe he wants me to play in the... So he says, what are you up to, what are you doing? And I take him out for sushi, and we have a nice relationship. And then Leonard Nimoy says, hey, JJ asked me to be in the film. Well, wait a minute, I brought him sushi. So then I see the film. And then I say to Leonard, you know you're old when you go back in time and you're still old. So recently, I have joined a virtual reality company. They took full measurements of me and all my face, and so we're going to do interesting and special things. Not quite sure what, because it's so advanced. Have any of you used the goggles for virtual reality? You see how immediate it is. You see how whatever the content is, you're wearing the goggles, it's happening right there. It's the stuff of nightmares. The stuff I saw was like a grotesque figure coming at you, coming slowly towards you, and then it's coming at you. And then it leaps at me. And it's like, you know how you wake up from your nightmare screaming because it's so real? That'll drive you into a psychosis. That thing is so real, you have to be really careful. You have to really be careful that you don't take somebody on the edge and push them over the edge with virtual reality. But they also said, you know, Bill, we can do anything with your image. We can make you look 25. Here comes Captain Kirk! Your question.
Well, first let me say congratulations to you and your family on the great news.
Of the coming birth of Macchiato?
Yes.
We'll call him that.
My question, my wife and I are huge fans of Boston Legal, and
Good.
I won't ask you to say it. But
No.
My question is, if the unbeatable Denny Crane could take one case, what case would you have him take and why?
What case would Denny Crane take? What case would Danny, was it Danny Crane? No, it's Denny Crane. Denny Crane would take the case of the missing interpreter. What? That girl has never been found again. And even though there's a missing body, we still know you did it! So I'm sitting in Louisville a couple of weeks ago. Louisville, Kentucky. I'm competing in the World Championship horse show. So usually I ride, and next week I'm going to actually tomorrow, I'm going to Las Vegas to compete in a reining show. But in Louisville, it was all saddlebreds, another breeding horse that I compete in, and I compete with standardbreds, trotting horses. And so you're in a sulky behind, you've got your legs up in a sulky and you're driving a horse, and they're going in a small arena, not much larger than this here, 40 miles an hour. In this case, there were 9 other competitors. So I'm waiting for the trainer to bring the horse up in the warm-up ring where he is. That murder son of a... And I'm sitting in a golf cart facing this way, and I'm looking this way for about an hour. And then the trainer brings the horse up, and I get out of the cart, having turned this way for an hour. And oh, God, I felt a little bad. And I get into the cart like this, and now I've got to drive around in centrifugal force. You're leaning way back, feet extended, and you're leaning way. So after 5 minutes of that competition, I pinched the nerve in my back. So the last 2 weeks, I've been in excruciating pain, getting less and less. So I'm not really in pain now, but my legs are so stiff that I'm sitting down a lot. I just thought, if you thought I was walking stiffly, it isn't because I'm an old man. Because I had a pinched nerve in my back. Next question. What was that?
Well, I think you look great for your age.
Okay, next question. I appreciate the feeble effort of the comment.
It's really interesting that you didn't watch episodes of the other series, but I think that's more common than fans might think. Actors just don't watch every episode, they're busy. But my question
Does anybody have any idea what he just said?
Well, you mentioned that you didn't watch like the Next Generation.
Okay, whatever he said.
But my question
because I didn't watch the Next Generation? I just, I don't watch hour television. Do you watch a lot of hour television? Do you like, what do they call it when you watch everything at once? What? Binge? You binge? I'll bet you just looking at you. Good. Anything else?
Yes, being a big-time celebrity.
Yes, I am a big-time celebrity. I've come to Oregon for that reason. Portland, I've been to Portland many times, but never as successful as this.
So being a big-time celebrity, what are some of the hardships, how do you deal with hardships and difficulties, like not always being able to go out in public places without being fear of bombardment?
Yeah, you mean big-time celebrities don't go out in public?
Well, they're careful. They have
How do you know
this guys in and
How do you know they don't go out in public?
well, I mean,
The big-time celebrities I know, they all go out in public.
they do, they have to be careful.
What? They what?
They have to be careful.
Well, yeah, we're surrounded by a lot of tall men in white suits, dark glasses. Doesn't everybody? It is difficult. People say, they come up to me, tug on my shirt, say Denny Crane. It is a little difficult, I gotta tell you. But you do it, no? Mostly I stay home. I just love being home. I tour so much. I was just out for 6 weeks in Europe doing another season of Better Late Than Never. I don't know what it is. So Terry Bradshaw, Henry Winkler, George Foreman, and a young comic, not so young, he's 35 years old. It's not young. A guy, middle-aged guy. Jeff Dye and I went 6 weeks to Europe. We had been the previous year for 5 weeks to Asia. Now we went to 6 cities, 5 countries, and had adventures. Very funny. The show was successful. Got a lot of good notice, and people watched it last year, so they renewed it here. This year it'll be on, I think, in January. So there we are, in our various celebrities, in various countries, some of whom played our shows, and some of whom have, some of them, you know, in Germany, for example, I'm popular in Germany, they played all the shows that I've been on, but we went to Morocco, and they never heard of me, but they knew George Foreman 2 times. They had no idea who Terry Bradshaw was. 4 rings, Super Bowl rings on his fingers, and they didn't know who he was. Henry was popular in a lot of the countries. So we're doing Better Late Now. Toured on that. I got to go tour my one-man show. It's the soft mattresses that destroy me. You know, the hotels think they're doing you a favor by having a pillow bed. As bad as everybody's back, the human race's back is, and mine's worse than most, man, those soft mattresses kill you. It's going into public places that are, you know, it's not comfortable. People saying hello and trying to be nice and trying to come over and the best phrase is, I hate to disturb you, but I hate to disturb you, but I said, well, then don't. I think that's rude, but I think it's it interferes with your personal life a lot, people. But I understand it. I mean, I understand you being here. I understand coming up for autographs and pictures, which, by the way, I'll be signing after this moment. I'll go downstairs and sign more autographs. I understand the thing. I understand it. I've been asked, for example, whose autograph would I get? And I did a show called The Truth is in Our Stars, in which I interviewed a lot of astrophysicists. I got into a ferocious pretend argument with Tyson, deGrasse Tyson. What's his first name? Neil deGrasse Tyson, at his place in New York. I got into a ferocious argument with him. Not really, but I mean, it was fun. Because I kept saying, how can you make observations about, okay, we got a black hole up there, and maybe 2 black holes, and the energy and the stars are forming, and there's a space-time. When 95 to 97% of what they're looking at isn't what they're looking at. That dark matter and dark energy, they theorize is out there because things aren't behaving well. They theorize there's 97% of the universe which they can't see, touch, feel, know. They don't know anything about. There's something out there. We don't know what it is, but we're continuing to observe. I mean, how would you like to, if your child went to school, you're trying to like follow your child's life to shape it, and you didn't know 97% of what the child was doing. How could you make an observation? So this was my point with Neil deGrasse Tyson. But the one person whose autograph I would love to have had, and whom I spoke to, was Dr. Stephen Hawking. So Dr. Stephen Hawking, you know the story. He's got ALS. And he's in a wheelchair, and he's a great mind, great astrophysicist. Who, by the way, I write science fiction barely. I mean, all right, but there's some really great science fiction writers who imagine what might be, and then write about it, and it's fiction. Astrophysicists imagine what might be, and then they try and find theories to facts to bolster their theory, and then do mathematics to bolster that. And somebody as great as Stephen Hawking said about a black hole, there's the event horizon as the energy is being sucked in. He said, well, once you get into the event horizon, all the energy, all the information, all the light, everything goes down into the hole, and nothing comes out. And then a few years later, he said, no, wait a minute, I made a mistake here. It comes out. How does he know? He doesn't know it goes in, goes out. He doesn't know. Nobody knows anything. They don't know anything. But if he were walking along, I'd tug at his foot. I hate to bother him. You good with that? Your wife called me. In my usual fashion, said yes.
Could you answer an age-old debate?
An age-old debate?
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Are you serious? You can't be serious! What? Well, are you a child? Do you like Star Wars, or are you a man? We'll hear about that one. No more sushi for JJ.
No, actually, I thought it was perfectly climactic that you were the ones who sold them out with the plan.
Yeah, because I'm Shatner.
How did it, as a person of clear, iconic history of Star Trek,
As the young man said, marvelous, a great celebrity. Why was I in that movie?
That's your best.
The producers were friends of mine. They said, we've written this movie, and they have to go to Shatner's play. Shatner has to come out. And we've sold this movie of Shatner appearing in the film. So unless we want to stop walking, you got to be in the film. So who else could they have gotten? Leonard would have turned them down. I did it as a thing. And actually, it was. I never saw the film, but I mean, more people talk about Fanboy than.
it was awesome.
That's great. That's why I was in the film, because it was awesome.